This is CGTN, China Global Television Network.
The rescheduled 2020 Olympic Games kicks off in 13 days' time amid more controversy and bad news for the fans. The International Olympic Committee is rallying athletes, officials, and the Japanese public for the Games. That's despite fans being banned from sports venues across the country under renewed COVID-19 restrictions in Tokyo. African teams are heading to the Games but will have to quarantine before being allowed into the opening ceremony later next week. Sports Scene takes a look at the very latest developments from Japan and around Africa in our Olympics Countdown show. Hello and welcome to your weekly sports program that brings you all the sporting news and reviews from an African perspective. We will highlight the thrill of victory while also showing you the agony of defeat. I'm Richard Nta, Nairobi. This is Sports Scene. Put on your seatbelts, buckle up, get ready. Let's get started. Here's what's coming up in the show. We interview Kenya's top marathoner, Perez Jepchirchir, who outlines her target for Japan. And Egyptian champion boxers eye first medal since Athens 2004 Games. Welcome into Sports Scene. Let's kick off. International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach has issued a message of assurance to athletes, officials, fans, and the Olympic community ahead of the Olympic Games opening ceremony. The Olympics chief has arrived in Japan for the Games, which are scheduled to take place from July the 23rd to August the 8th. Venues in Tokyo and other areas near the capital city will not be allowed to hold events with fans during the Games. Bach spoke to after it was confirmed no spectators will be allowed at venues due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic.
We all regret this decision for not having spectators, for the spectators, but even more so for the athletes, who will not be able to enjoy live the Olympic atmosphere. But for the athletes, I think the feeling will be very different because they will know that billions of people from around the globe are with them in their heart, that they are supporting them, that they are feeling with them. So the athletes should also appreciate this feeling and should feel encouraged by this different new form of support in unprecedented times.
Meanwhile, the state of emergency and ban on spectators in Tokyo will make for a very different atmosphere at the Games. The organizers say they were hoping for the best, but had no choice but to turn to their plans for the worst. CGTN's Terence Tereshima has more.
Tokyo 2020 has been under overwhelming scrutiny as an event that takes precedence over public welfare. The Japanese capital lifted its state of emergency last month in hopes to boost the mood for the Olympics. The government looked to allow as many as 10,000 spectators in venues. After a recent spike in COVID-19 cases, another state of emergency was declared in Tokyo, and the Olympic organizers have now decided to hold the Games without spectators.
The state of emergency in Tokyo is aimed to suppress the flow of people and prevent the spread of infection. So we decided to hold the Games in Tokyo without spectators.
The organizers say the venues in 3 neighboring prefectures will also be held without spectators. It's 2 weeks to the start of the Olympic Games, and the organizers finally decided on the number of spectators in each venue. The public are angry that they waited so long and so close to the Games. Many Tokyo residents have expressed concerns over holding the Games and its risk of spreading the Delta coronavirus strain.
There should be no spectators at all venues.
Were there other choices besides having no spectators?
It's hard to say. I'm sure the athletes would love to have spectators, but if you think about possible spread, the choice is obvious.
Venues in other parts of Japan will be allowed either 50% capacity or a maximum of 10,000 people. Despite the limit, residents in these prefectures still worry that an influx of visitors may increase the risk of spreading the coronavirus in their city. Terence Teshima, CGTN, Tokyo.
South Africa's Akani Simbine put his name up in lights in Hungary when he smashed the African 100 meters record with a time of 9.84 seconds. The African champion's personal best has certainly caught the attention of the rest of the 100 meters medal contenders, who know Simbine is very much someone to keep an eye on. CGTN's Duplessis has more.
Akani Simbine is fast becoming the man to beat in the 100 meters. The 27-year-old began 2020 with fast times, and despite the forced break due to the pandemic, has continued where he left off and is now regarded as a serious medal contender at the Olympic Games.
I think he always knew he had the time in his leg. He needed to see it on the clock there, and that was always the thing. The big thing about Hungary was also the field he ran against. It was a quality time. There's oaks that had dropped 9.8s in that field that he absolutely destroyed. So winning the race and then winning a 9.8, he's on top of the world this morning.
The Continental 100-meter champion is one of the nicest guys off the track. But on the track, when he's in the starting blocks, he is a fierce competitor.
Yeah, I mean, that's just who he is. I mean, he's clean-cut image, good guy, good ambassador. But on that track, it's that white line theory. You know, once he hits that track, he just turns into a complete animal. And yeah, that's what's delivering. And his technique's working, his drive phase, the whole race he's putting together is looking good. So I think he's just in a good shape at the moment.
The 2018 Commonwealth Games gold medalist has had to rethink his approach in 2019. And since then, he's been on an upward trajectory, which has seen him consistently run sub-10 seconds and produce regular times that made his competition sit up and notice.
I do think it would be a huge surprise. But go back to Doha, he learned his lesson. He should have medaled. He ended up fourth. And I think that hurt. And he's taken that and he's built on it. And yeah, if he doesn't medal it in Tokyo, I think it's a huge, huge surprise.
Akani Simbine's 9.84 seconds is the second fastest time in the world this year, and certainly puts him in the conversation for a spot on the podium in Tokyo. It means the African champion has laid down an impressive marker and put the world on notice ahead of one of the most anticipated events of the Olympic Games. CS Duplessis, CGTN, Johannesburg, South Africa.
Well, let's get more perspective on the Olympic Games from Owuraku Ampofo, a Ghanaian sports journalist who joins me live from Accra. Owuraku, welcome to a sports scene. Great to have you with us. Owuraku, the IOC and Japanese officials say there will be no fans allowed in the venues. What options have they put in place to ensure the audiences will follow the games?
Well, earlier we did hear that after that devastating news that there would be no fans at the multi-sport event, which so many people look forward to, was a bit depressing, especially because, the games were moved ahead a year further from last year. And a lot of people expected it to come back and probably come back with a bang, like how we've seen football in the Euros 2020 with fans. But unfortunately, due to the scenario and the circumstance in Japan, that would not be happening. But we've also had the IOC saying that the games would be broadcasters to a potential 5 billion people across the globe, and that could possibly be the highest number of viewers that we've seen in the Olympic Games. And also we've heard that efforts have been put in to be able to get different broadcasters as well, and it would not just be linear media, so there'll be digital media. So it's still going to have a lot of eyeballs, just that it would have a unique experience, especially for the athletes, because you're going to be in a stadium alone. And you do know that, the support of the fans helps these athletes a lot because it's not necessarily a team sport. So that might be one negative, but in terms of the eyeballs, it's still going to be similar and even possibly more when it comes to their target markets in the United States of America and even in Tokyo.
Well, the support of the fans is very important. Let's just see how it turns out. But African teams have arrived in Japan for the games, including Ghana's boxing team. What can we learn from those in Japan so far as they prepare for the games? Ampofo?
Yeah, Ghana's boxing team actually got to Tokyo pretty early last week, and you do suspect that a lot of effort is being placed behind the boxing team, because over the years, Ghana's Olympic medals have really come from the boxing sport, and it has been arguably our most successful at the multi-sport event. And so preparations have been really good, according to the coach of Oyasare. Now, they've deployed a different strategy, and they are not training alone. They've actually collaborated with the Japanese team and have been training with them for the past week. We reached out to the coach last week, and he said that so far things are going well. And the advantage that training with the Japanese brings is that they do have a varied opponent, and it does bring that element of surprise in their training. So they're able to learn more, and they're collaborating well so far. And so things do look good from what he said in our last report when we did speak with the team, and they're pretty confident. And for the captain of the side, that's Suleiman Nta, this would be a second consecutive Olympic Games. And so he would be hoping for a much better performance.
All right, we're keeping our fingers crossed for Ghana. One more question, if you would indulge me, a brief response is required. Ampofo, what is the risk of hosting and holding these games in the middle of a global pandemic, particularly for the athletes?
Well, it's going to be difficult. And, the fact that athletes probably have to be testing frequently and all that. So there's that risk that your whole dream that you've looked forward to in terms of participating in Olympic Games could be ruined with just one positive test during the tournament. So there is always that risk that you could test positive. And even for the people of Japan, the health advisors did state that it wouldn't be the best decision to be able to carry on with the Olympic Games, considering that there's a possibility of a third wave, as reported by CNN. And so the signs don't look too good in terms of allowing, people from different countries to come into Tokyo at this point in time. But you also have that feeling that the games have to go on. And if we go another year with the Olympic Games, there's going to be so much distortion in the calendar. So we do hope for the best. And even without the fans, we're able to turn this unique experience into one to remember.
All right, Owuraku Ampofo, we certainly appreciate your insights. Thank you so much for your time. Now, the Tokyo 2020 Games will mark the second Summer Olympiad that features a team of refugee athletes competing under the Olympic flag. In June this year, IOC President Thomas Bach announced a team of 29 athletes that would travel to Tokyo from around the world, upping the number from the 10 that took part in Rio 2016. This year, Team Chef de Mission, Tegla Lurupe, the former Kenyan marathon world record holder, has been training 4 refugee athletes at her Peace Foundation as they prepare to return to the world stage. Mahia Mutua reports.
Kenya's Ngong Hills form the backdrop for these athletes' preparations as they finish off their early morning training sessions. Most here are refugee athletes from countries like the DRC and Burundi. 4 of them from South Sudan, Rose Lokonyen, Paulo Lokoro, James Nyang Chiangjiek, and Angelina Lohalith are gearing up for their second Olympics. Rose Lokonyen had the honor of being selected as the official flag bearer of the team in 2016. This time around, her target is to better her Rio 800 meters time of 2 minutes 16.64 seconds that saw her finish 7th in her heat.
I'm hoping to improve on my time and also to wish all the best to my colleagues. At least we can do something at Tokyo 2020.
The team suffered a major setback when lockdown measures were implemented in Kenya last year. All athletes were sent to Kakuma refugee camp, cutting them off from their coaches and putting a grueling strain on their training.
We have been getting the program through the group, so we have been trying to follow, and then we send back the result to the coaches and they review and see if we have done in the right way. So it was not that easy, but we thank God that we come up to this far, and we continue to move on.
Now they're back and looking forward to joining the rest of their team members from around the world. They include Brazilian-based judoka Popole Misenga from the DRC and Iranian-born Kimia Alizadeh Zenozi, who took bronze in the under 57 kg Taekwondo category in Rio before defecting in 2020 to live and train in Germany.
So yes, you prepare since 2019, so we are in a good shape. So now 2020, the corona is coming, so the shape is lower down, and so at least this year when open the camp, so at least a bit so we catch up, and our training is going on well, and at least now you can see ourselves, so we are fine.
As the 4 athletes here continue their preparations, they'll be fully aware of the added responsibility and weight on their shoulders, both competing under the Olympic flag and representing millions of displaced persons worldwide. But with added numbers, the 29-man team is fully aware and hopeful that this could be the year they bring home a medal.
For the 29 athletes that I'm going to lead, I think we will not miss a medal. We have also Popole for the judo from Brazil. We have this lady from Iran who's already have a medal in Taekwondo. So I think there are possibility people can reach even final or quarter-final.
The 4-man team now travels to Dubai before making the journey to Tokyo for the Games. Mahia Mutwa, CGTN.
All right, the action continues on Sports Scene. Don't go away. Here's what's ahead. We interview Kenya's top marathoner, Perez Jepchirchir, who outlines her target for Japan.
How would you create your legend? On the fields, on the tracks, in the arenas of Africa. Were you born to be a player? Could this moment be yours? Sports Scene. Find your game.
Welcome back to Sports Scene. Kenya's Perez Jepchirchir will travel for her Olympics debut in Tokyo on a high after her women's only world half marathon record of 1 hour, 5 minutes and 15 seconds set in Poland last October was officially ratified by the sport's governing body. CGTN Sadiq Shaban sat down with the record holder and began by asking her about winning the three-peat at last year's World Half Marathon Championships. Let's take a listen.
Perez, thank you very much indeed for speaking to CGTN. Now, it's been a very good year for you at least. Let's talk about the World Half Marathon Championship in 2020, where you achieved a three-peat. You won it. There was the gold medal and something very special about the world record time.
I stay with that record for just only 1 month. I don't think even it reached 1 month. And Jocelyn come and break it. So when I was going to Poland, I told my God, wow, once again, my record is going to be beaten again. So what was on my mind, I knew that record, first of all, can go to beat the record, and also gold. But my hope was to gold to come to Kenya. And I knew that gold, if they come to Kenya, gold with record, it will come to Kenya. But I was not expecting to be me.
Perez, are you done breaking world records, or are you just warming up to possibly breaking more records in future?
I'm not done yet. I'm not done. My prayer is to break record in world half, gender, I need that one, and to run good time. The next 2 years to run even at 2:17, first to attempt 2:17, then to come 2:15, then I attempt the record for marathon. I know it's not easy. It's not easy. It needs a lot, some years.
Is it the shoes or the runner that makes and breaks the records?
It's not a shoe, it's very shape. Even me, if I will give you this shoe, you cannot break the record because of the shoe.
The issue of doping in athletics has been a major topic of discussion. How are you handling the pressure of being a top athlete from Kenya at a time when the country is going through a very difficult period in terms of anti-doping rule violations?
We are being tested now and then every month some every week. Yeah, you cannot find somebody say he's running because of his effort. No, they used to say only this is a drug. Even me, if I run, people say, no, maybe that is a drug. Somebody cannot compete and win 2 races, 2 records at once. People used to say like that.
It's going to be a big year in 2021 with the Olympic Games. Are you looking forward to lining up in Japan, possibly representing the country again?
It will be wonderful to me, and I will not let my country, Kenya, down. I will fight. Yeah, I will appreciate if I will get that chance. If it's God will, I will be happy.
Paris Churchill, many thanks indeed for your time and for speaking to CGTN.
Nta is the only Senegalese judoka qualified to represent at the country at the Olympic Games in Tokyo. Nta arrived back in Dakar from France in June to continue his training with the National Olympic team. CGTN's Mohamed Abubakar tells us more.
Nta is looking forward to his first Olympic appearance in Tokyo. The young judoka is now sharpening his techniques, aiming to reach his best form heading into the Games.
The preparation for the Olympic game is going very well. As you can see, it is very hard. We are giving the best of ourselves. The atmosphere is good. I train with all these people and they all support me. I have quality coaches, and by the grace of God, this will allow me to be ready on the day of the competition.
Nta arrived here from France. I wanted him to be here so that we could have training sessions because I am the one who is accompanying him to the Olympics. We work a lot, especially on the communication between us during his fights. There are also some small details that we need to improve, but everything is going very well at the moment. The Olympic Games are the holy grail of the world sport, so it is not going to be easy.
Nta qualified for the Tokyo Games by winning a gold medal in the men's over 100 kgs at the African Judo Championships in Madagascar last year. The victory moved him up to 26th in the world rankings. With expectations now high, he hopes to make a good impression in Tokyo.
I know that the Senegalese people and even all of Africa expect a lot from me. I am aware that this is the first time I participate in the Olympic Games, and I tell myself I'm going as an outsider. So I will try to go all the way and pass the maximum number of rounds possible. And why not win a medal, if God wills it.
Nta's international career started in 2010 at the African Junior Judo Championships. He has since been 2 times African champion, once gold medalist at the African Games in Rabat in 2019, and 10 times Senegalese champion. Mohamed Abubakar, CGTN.
In boxing, Egypt is eyeing a first Olympic medal in the sport since Athens 2004. This may be a far-fetched dream, but the current crop of African champions from the country maintain they will do all they can to bring that ambition closer to reality. CGTN's Adel Al-Mahroui brings us this report.
Abdulrahman Orabi won Africa's ticket to Tokyo after earning his gold medal in the 2020 Continental Boxing Qualification Tournament in Dakar last year. Since then, the Egyptian champion strived to keep himself fit under the COVID-19 lockdown. Stuck in his rural village, far from decent sports gears available in the Egyptian capital, Orabi had to improvise.
I don't think the pandemic affected me greatly. I rented a flat next to my home. I brought all the training equipment I needed, and I managed to keep training every day until sports activities resumed. I managed to bring myself in shape quickly. After the qualification, I had an injury in my hand. That delay in the Olympics because of COVID-19 gave me an opportunity to recover, become better and stronger.
Japan is going to be the 33-year-old boxer's last Olympics appearance. His 20 years career in the sport has seen him on a continuous rise, lately winning gold in the African and Mediterranean Games. In 2019, he won silver in Wuhan Military World Games, All that Orabi misses is an Olympic medal.
The dream I live for is an Olympic medal. God willing, I will be able to achieve that dream in the Tokyo Olympics. I will make the Egyptian people proud. Achieving an Olympic medal is hard, but not impossible. We will keep the pursuit for a medal. I have confidence that I can do it this year. I trust that God will reward me for the effort and the hard work I have exerted.
Besides the veteran boxer Orabi, Egypt also has high hopes that its rising champion Yusri Rizq Mustafa could bring a boxing medal this year. The 27-year-old boxer qualified to Tokyo for his continental and world rank. Yusri is the #1 player in the super heavyweight category in Africa and ranks 5th globally. This year's Olympics is going to be his first.
In Rio de Janeiro, we were close to winning an Olympic medal. One of our colleagues finished 5th. The Egyptian Boxing Federation is always close to winning a medal. In the Olympics, we lack a bit of fortune on the road to the Olympics. It would be great if I could be the reason that Egypt once again won a boxing medal after so many years.
We return to South Africa, where the women's hockey team heads to Tokyo eager to make up for missing out on Rio 2016. The squad that has been training in Johannesburg is upbeat and counting down the days until they depart for the biggest event of their amateur careers. Here is CGTN CS du Plessis once again.
It is all systems go for the South African national senior women's hockey squad as they put the finishing touches on their Olympic preparations. The talented group have been training around the restrictions of the pandemic, sacrificing their spare time on weekends just to be ready for the hockey showpiece in Tokyo.
Being amateur in South Africa, you know, while everyone has either varsity, schools, jobs, whatever it might be, at least every second weekend we get together Friday to Sunday afternoon, and as the 26 train as a centralized program. So as you can see, lots of excitement. The players enjoy coming in, and we have 7 sessions over the weekend to work on things that we need to as a group.
I think we're kind of counting down the days, counting down the weeks. We've got the prep that we know we're going to do up until then. So we're counting down those sessions. So yeah, definitely it's close by now, and we've got our sights set on it. So it's nice for us to have something to work towards, and especially to be doing something to work towards such an important event.
The top-ranked team on the continent is aiming to compete and not just make up the numbers. However, as goalkeeper Pumi Mbande says, it's about doing the Rainbow Nation proud first before worrying about the pressure of representing Africa.
For us coming into this tournament, it's really about us as a team. We lost out on a huge opportunity in 2016 for various reasons, and I think this is a really, really good chance to showcase what we can do as a country, and to showcase what can happen given the opportunity. So there is a lot of pressure, but I think it's more from us as South Africa and what we as South African hockey want to achieve, and the legacy that we want to leave behind for the next generation.
Van Ginkel's side begins their Olympic campaign against Ireland, followed by Germany and India. But despite the daunting task ahead, the objective remains the same for the national coach.
We definitely want to make a statement. You know, when people say medals at Olympics, it's probably out of our reach right now. South Africa have never ended higher than, you know, top 8. So they normally play from 8 to 12 or 9 to 12 positions. So quarterfinal is the goal, and if we do that, then I think we've done really well, and we can be proud to be, you know, that international stage.
The South African women's hockey team will make a long-awaited return to the Olympics after controversially missing out in 2016. And despite the obstacles of numerous lockdowns during the pandemic, the group assembled here in Johannesburg is positive, full of energy, and raring to go and compete on sport's biggest stage against the best the sport of hockey has to offer. CS du Plessis, CGTN, Johannesburg.
Well, that's it for this edition of Sports Scene. Remember, you can send us your feedback to the contacts on the screen and follow us on digital media platforms. Thanks for watching. Remember to keep it right here on CGTN. See you again next time.